The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
Yeah, disappointing result. I thought it was a poor performance, and I thought we deserved to lose the game. So, can't really complain too much. Just not managed to build on the momentum for the weekend. I know we made the changes, but unfortunately we weren't quite at it today. We obviously made quite a few changes, very similar style, I suppose, that started against Havant a couple of weeks ago and didn't get the result as well. So, it's. There's plenty to chew on. I think that I look at the side that's out there, and there's there are 11 players that are good championship players. Certainly in terms of what we've tried to bring in and recruit, and we didn't have enough good performances today, and overall, we ended up costing ourselves. The bright spark of the night really is Teo making his debut first of all and coming on and scoring, and a good lesson I think for some of the other lads there, looking at an academy player coming on and showing the way. So very, very pleased for him, and it's difficult sometimes because we've had the result and the performance, and we don't want that to that's the most important thing, but it shouldn't sour what's a very special moment for Teo.
Yeah, a very special moment for him. He'll have woken up on Wednesday morning feeling like $1 million, won't he? And quite right too. He took his goal really well. He got into the mix. He was surrounded by defenders and a goalkeeper, and he made sure he got to the ball first, which is job number one. And job number two is guiding it into the net. And he did both those things dead right. But what he also did, which I'm sure you've seen, which is absolute perfection, is hurtle into the goal, pick up the ball, knowing that there was 2 minutes left. There was a possibility that we could get the draw that he no doubt wanted. We're not sure whether absolutely everybody behind the scenes at Fratton Park really wanted it to go on and really wanted to make it through until the next stage of the competition. But he did the right thing. When you've scored that goal and you get to pick that ball up and run with it back to the centre circle and place it in the centre circle, telling the other team, OK, you're on the rack now, we're coming at you. Maybe only for 90 seconds, but we're coming at you. Great attitude and a great moment for the lad. The rest of the performance, we've been saying on Pompey Sound for 48 hours now, in a matter of a few days. Well, Norwich, actually, as soon as our attention turns to Norwich, we will have forgotten about being defeated at home by Reading. They're a good side. They're a robust side. They're a big side. Big side. The only unnerving thing that we felt came out of the game against them, it went pretty much as we'd expect, was Matthews being bundled off the ball by their big number 9 on his way to scoring their second goal. He wasn't entirely bundled out. He wasn't out-muscled. I think the way the ball sat up on him, waist height, with a man bearing down on him, breathing down his neck, in fact, it was a bit awkward for him because I think he'd like to have hoofed it into the stand, but it was just too high at that moment. And in that split second of slight indecision, the man was on top of him, and he went down, and he was still lying on the ground when the fella finished it off, and a good finish it was too. So I say credit to Reading. What about you? Credit to Reading. They'll all be happy at Reading at the moment. They're going through their problems. One wonders whether Matt Ritchie spoke to anybody last night. He's almost certainly on his way there, but it's a protracted switch from us to Reading. But it was a protracted switch, if you remember, from Newcastle to us for him. So obviously he's been around the block so many times. He knows about negotiation, and that's what's going on at the moment. And John Messina's confident that he'll find a club before September the 1st, and we can tear up whatever's left of his contract, and onwards and upwards for everybody. Football League world have allowed themselves to get completely carried away with things at Fratton Park. Listen to what they've got to say today.
Portsmouth have been big fans of bringing in Australians over the last couple of years. Since the arrival of sporting director Richard Hughes, Pompey have had no fewer than 7 players who either hail from down under or represent the Socceroos at international level. There have been mixed fortunes for them, with then Manchester City loanee Alex Robertson being a huge success in Pompey's League One promotion-winning season, before an injury at the back end of 2023 forced him to miss the rest of the campaign. Likewise, Cassini Yengi scored some important goals in that title-winning year before struggling with injuries last season in the Championship. However, Samuel Silvera will go down as one of the worst Pompey loanees of recent history, with him being booed off the pitch in a defeat at Bristol City last December, unsurprisingly signalling the end of his loan from Middlesbrough. Whilst the likes of Jacob Farrell and Thomas Waddingham are still young players who will no doubt continue to grow with age and time. However, there is one man that Pompey have brought in that has instantly hit the ground running, and there are many signs that point to this being a masterstroke of a signing by John Mazzino and Hughes. The Westmead-born 21-year-old was, unsurprisingly, relatively unheard of when he was brought to these shores by Pompey in the summer, but there's reason to believe that the entire division will certainly be well aware of his prowess soon enough. The man dubbed the Aussie Messi was on target in Portsmouth's opening day 1-0 win at Oxford United, with a beautiful sweeping finish into the bottom corner from the edge of the box after Jamie Cumming had saved Colby Bishop's initial one-on-one opportunity. Segejic, at 5 feet 8 inches, is only an inch taller than the Argentine legend, hence why the comparisons could start to be made without a ball being kicked. However, his style of play is similar in some ways to the great man, with Segejic able to use his small stature to keep hold of the ball and either create opportunities for himself or his teammates, as was exhibited by this beautiful assist when playing for the ASEAN All-Stars against Manchester United earlier this summer. That, added to a couple of impressive pre-season showings, shows why Pompey may well have brought in a gem for this season. The aims for Pompey, agreed on by most of the supporters, are pretty simple really. Avoid being in a relegation dogfight. Alas, it took until October last year for Pompey to win their first game of the season, so that monkey is now off their back. As well as avoiding defeat in the 2 fixtures against their arch-rival Southampton, as the South Coast Derby returns in the league this campaign for the first time since the 2011-12 season. However, if Saturday's result was anything to go by, which also saw the return of the centre-back duo of Connor Shaughnessy and Regan Poole, a duo that have never lost a game when they've played together, then maybe Pompey could even be outsiders to nick a playoff berth in what is still their second campaign back at this level.
OK, folks, look, there's getting carried away and there's getting completely carried away to the point of being an outpatient. I mean, OK, Pompey to make the playoffs. There'll be a point at some point in the season where it will be discussed, but it will drift away again, and it would be a problem if we got there. I know that's not the sort of thing you should say out loud, but that's how we feel. And I think a lot of fans in their gut recognise that that is the case. We certainly don't want to be in the Premier League with where we're at right now, for goodness sake. But as for Segejic being the Aussie Messi, there are several things wrong with that argument. One, he's 5'8". That's not an inch taller than Messi. That's 4 or 5 inches taller than Messi. He can't score goals at will in the same way that Messi has done throughout his unbelievably stellar career. And I think you'll find at the age of 20, which is what Segejic is right now, Messi was so far high up in the firmament of global football, which is a scale that Segejic has yet to climb. Hope he does, but it will be no discredit to him at all if he doesn't go down in football history as being a GOAT. Mick Robertson on Kasigi Yengi, a Fratton Park favourite who's not having a great start at Aberdeen. Mick?
He's having a nightmare up in Aberdeen. I actually sort of tried to watch anyway, both games. They were against Hearts and then Celtic. Tough away to Hearts and then home to Celtic. Tough games for Aberdeen, and for Kasigi Yengi they were not great. Pompey fans warmed him, and some of them were really upset that he moved on. But I'm not sure he's that good. Sounders.
You can catch the whole of Mick's regular piece right across Pompey Sound. You can also, if you're listening to Pompey Sound, you can podcast what he has to say, as with all our specialist correspondents and our daily Pompey Sound news, by going to Pompey Sound Podcasts.